This is Milo Manx with part 2 of how to adjust VW swing axle spring plates. This is another Milo Manx I just got done building. It needs a little more height in the right rear. The frame height is 9 3/8 on the driver's side and 9 1/8 on the passenger side. The camber is also in the negative range on both sides. Raising the right rear will raise the left just a little. This is something new I bought since the last video. It's an electronic angle finder made by Johnson. It's accurate within 1/10 of a degree. If I put it on the windshield here, let's try it this way. The windshield's at an angle of 26.9. Oh, let's make it 27. And on the passenger side, 27. That's 27.1. But that's good. I cut this board and sanded it level and square and made it fit just inside the lip of a 15-inch wheel. When you take your angle finder and put it on there, these are the front wheels. You can see it's 0.8 degree positive camber. Let's go to the rear. When I put it on the rear wheel, it's 0.3 negative camber. Let me make sure, because I thought it was more than that before. 0.2. Must be the garage not being level, the garage floor not being level, because it was like 0.7 negative in the past. All right, let's get into the adjustment of the spring plate. I rechecked the camber on the right rear wheel after I removed the buggy to the center of the garage, and the camber was 0.6 degree negative. All right, it's up on jack stands. The frame is level to the ground. I took off the shock, the suspension stop, and also the brake drum. I took off the brake drum to get the emergency brake cable out of the way. I just found out it's a lot easier to do it this way than it is to always be fighting with the cable and possibly ruining it. That's a little different than my first video, but you learn as you live. I didn't touch the rear 2 bolts. They're still tight. Because before you loosen them, you have to check your alignment marks. There's a mark on the top, right there. I have it highlighted in white crayon. And also when I lined it, I put one in the rear. I think you can see that. If your buggy or Volkswagen was aligned, you want to make sure you get the axle tubes back in the same slot, because the spring plate has slotted holes that allow you to move this forward and rearward to get the correct toe. Many people argue with me, but the correct toe on the rear of a Volkswagen Beetle is 1/8 inch toe out. Toe out is where the front of the rear tires are wider than the rear of the rear tires. It's 1/8 inch toe out. On a buggy, because they're shorter, I can go up to 3/16 of an inch, and it handles at highway speed without a problem. But you can look it up in Rob and Dave's help pages. Rob and Dave's Volkswagen help pages. It tells you in there. They're a valuable source of information. To cut the notches in there, you can do it with a file, or you can do it with this air grinder with a thin blade on it. Alright, I'm going to loosen the axle and get ready to take the spring plate off. The rest of the axle bolts were taken out. The axle's out of the way, and the torsion bar cover was removed. If you see somebody else's video that says to mark the location of the spring plate now, before it's off the stop, that's completely wrong. What you have to do next is pop it off right there. Then you measure the angle of it. Right now it's 13.1. I learned from the other side how much to change this side. I want to increase the angle 2.5 to 3 degrees. It should raise this side more than 3/8 of an inch. In my other video, I put 14 degrees in those plates. This one seems to be taking more. This one's already at 13.1, and I want to increase it to the high 15s, 15.5, 15.8, something like that. I don't know if these are older Beetle torsion bars or they're just weak. It's hard to say. When you remove the or pop off the spring plate, it's advisable to mark its location in here, just to give you a reference point, so you can see how far you turned it. You'll see that here in a little bit. First thing I wanted to do was show you that the frame is level. Within a tenth or two, to give you a good starting reference point, if your suspension is way off. 14 degrees on a dune buggy and 17 degrees on an old Beetle is a good place to start. I have to go more than one notch moving the torsion bar, but I'm going to go one notch on the torsion bar to show you what difference it makes. Because right now on the spring plate, it's 13.1. And if you can see, it's just barely above this board I have sitting here. So mark the torsion bar and the swing arm with a Sharpie. Pull that out. Pull out the torsion bar slowly with a little bit of tension to turn it left, just like that. And put it back in. I think I went only one notch. Put the spring plate back on. Put it back in there a little firm. Get your angle finder. And now you have 13.7. I went one notch and got 0.6 degrees. That's a difference in the splines of the torsion bar, because the inner end has 40 splines and the outer has 44, unless I'm backwards. But when you turn it that one notch, the torsion bar, then put the spring plate back on to almost what you think is the same area, you get less than 1 degree difference. Well, I said at the start I wanted to wind up with like 15.5 or a little bit more, and to do that I'm going to have to turn it 3 more notches. Let's see what happens. Because like I said, those 4 notches, let's say 4 times 0.6 of a degree is 2.4 degrees. And I want to go just a little bit more than that, so we'll see what it does when I change it. When you turn this left counterclockwise, you get more tension, which makes sense. And if you turn it right, you get less tension if you want to lower the vehicle. Okay, so we'll go about 4. Actually 3. Because you can pull this out and check it as many times as you want. It's not like you have to do it right the first time. Looks like it didn't move very much. Oh, yes it did. It's very deceiving, because it looks like it's as close to the crate as it was before. Now I have about 15.6, 15.5. So it was 13.1. I wanted to go at least 2.5 more. and it's just under 2.5. I'm going to try turning it one more notch, because I want to come up with a little bit more than 2.4 degree difference. See what that is. .2. That's a 3.1 degree change. Because if I go back one notch, you take 6/10 off of that, it would be a little more than 6/10. It would be 15.5. A little confusing, but because that 3 degree difference should raise the right side of the frame from the ground anywhere from 3/8 to 1/2 inch. 16.3. It was 13.1. We're going to go with that 3 degrees. All right, so we'll put it back together, get on the ground, and hopefully we got it right the first time. One tip I wanted to share with you is lubricating the bushings and the swing arm. The factory service manual says to use talcum powder, which I had a hard time finding. So I was doing some reading and found out that silicone paste works better. As it says right on the can, lubricates rubber bushings. Unlike petroleum-based products, it doesn't break down the rubber. Plus, it lets the swing arm move up and down very easily, giving you a much softer ride. As I coat this area, go around that, and also the back plate a little bit, the outside ring, because your bushing rides on there also. There we go. But the silicone paste works the best. I've used this for over 4 years and never had a problem. Well, I just got back from a short little test drive. I measured everything, and it looks like I screwed up and did it right. I screwed up and got it right. Because now, the right side frame is 9.5 inches above the ground, and the left hand is 9 5/16 above the ground. It was 9.0 on the right and 9 3/8 on the left. The left side used to be higher. Now the right side is a little bit higher than the left, which is exactly the way I want it. I checked the camber, and the camber came out the 2/10 of a degree negative on both the left and the right. And that's perfect, because you want a little bit of negative camber in the rear wheels when you're making a corner. And being I make corners pretty fast, it's going to stick to the road real well. This is Milo Manx. I hope this video helped you out, and we'll see you later.